longer skip is starting to come in. Has somebody checked up on 97?
I wouldn't advise that. You're going to incur the wrath of the guy on 3.900 W7MS.
All right. Well, let's try it here. Let me just listen here. Stand by. You know, I can't hear them out here in the West Coast, so let's go for it. I got K6, little green light there, skip at the bottom. Any others trying to get on the list? K2RP. Ron, I have you. Any others? All right. But which? I tried again? No, I guess not. Okay. Well, I'm running a new station here, and it's not a transceiver. Welcome, everybody, to the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable. This is Rocco, N6KN, in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. I'll be the host for this evening. And I'm using the shortened preamble tonight. So tonight I'm running a 32S3 driving a 3001, and the receiver's a 75A4. So I am split, so we'll see how that works. We meet every Tuesday evening on or near 3895 kilohertz. All of us should be using equipment that was manufactured before 1981 or home-built equipment with equivalent technology. First-timers may, however, use modern equipment. So first of all, are there any announcements?
Yeah, I'm not interested in listening to two different QSOs at the same time. I'm going to say goodnight. W6WUH.
Good night, Larry.
Okay, Larry. Anybody else trying to get in here? Go ahead. Well, you know, anybody want to check down a couple? Remember, ever get paid for cutting anybody's grass? I hate to listen to these guys in Fiveland. How about let me check 93. Stand by. You know, there's nothing at all that I can hear on 93. So I'm going to make a command decision here, guys. We'll see how good you are. We're going to move down to 93, and we'll see how it works. N6KN is going to go down to...
You know where you get 50 bucks. W7MS.
Alright, this is N6KN with the Vintage SSB Roundtable. Is anybody on this frequency? Yes, sir. And who is on this frequency?
W7MS.
KJ6HN.
Okay. All right, guys. So you heard the list. Has anybody who has not been mentioned want to get on the list? Go now. All right, let's go with that. The question of the evening, which I hope some of you picked up, is, if I can read it, what are your favorite and least favorite tubes? I'm sure we all have some. And as follow on, any hints for sources and maintenance care techniques for both transmitting and receiving tubes as they become harder to acquire. And I'll say right now, as they become more expensive, as some of you well know. So any hints, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. All right, so the first four will be NY6L. Jay, would you take it, give it to Mike? W7MS, Mike, give it to W6DQ, and Dennis, if you would give it to KF6QNG Lisa. NY6L, go ahead, Jay.
Okay, very good. NY6L here in Hesperia. All right, we're running the Collins S line here this evening here. So, okay. Well, tubes. Well, when I got my SB200, I had a 572B triode go bad on me, and well, push come to shove, I know I paid too much, but I got a pair of Svetlanas from RF Parts, and that's paying, big bucks, but I want to get the amplifier going. And something happened to one of the Svetlana tubes where it failed, and I fortunately got it changed with, under warranty after filling out the paperwork, but I would say probably 572B tubes were a little bit, at least when I tried to, get them, was a little difficult to find some, or pay the big price. So I would say 572Bs. Another one, as far as receiving tube, well, the 1L6 used in Zenith transoceanic tubes. I got about 3 of those in my stock, but those are expensive. And if you definitely have to have the regulator, voltage regulator tube, the 50A1, well, that's about $90 now. That goes in the transoceanic. So there you go. Over to W7MS, NY6L Hesperia.
Well, thank you, Jay. NY6L, W7MS, and thanks for the move down in frequency, Rocco. It's a little bit better here than listening to the ethnic twang on 3895. A little bit more comfortable here. So hopefully Larry stuck it out for the move down. But this evening, running the Cubic Astro 103 and the PSU 6A matching power supply speaker, and they, as I'd mentioned once previously, my recent summer season swap meet purchase, and that's the matching ST3B antenna tuner, antenna coupler that matches the transceiver. Microphone's the prerequisite 444. Antenna's a coax fed dipole, so that's the version of that. And to answer the question, well, good deal on Jay's 1L6s. Yeah, we feel your pain, especially if you have to go and buy that, or the regulator tube for the various battery sets that use those. But to the question, my most hated tube, and these would be glass tubes, tungsten filaments, is the Chinese-built 811. And you notice I don't say 811A because the Chinese tube was a licensed copy from the Soviet version of the 811, which is basically identical, which was copied from the USA 811s, and they really aren't A's. They don't have plate radiators, and they're mighty touchy guys. Quite a predominance for bullseye plates on those puppies. And this, no, we're not going into the vertical versus horizontal build on the 811s from China, because that was 25 years ago, but that one always comes up. And I have yet to see one, and they haven't been produced incorrectly relative to the positioning in the 3001 for decades now. And I'd also add the 3500Zs to that collection because they severe gas issues, and also the late production IMAX out of Salt Lake City had build problems. Specifically, the capacitor, the plate head would separate from the plate structure, and you'd have an internal short. I've seen basically brand new tubes with grid to filament shorts in those late production Salt Lake IMAX. But my favorites are generally ceramic power tubes. They get her from the heater. They really hold well. They rarely go gassy, and I think they'll probably outlive most of their tungsten filament glass tubes as we head off into deeper into the 21st century. And I guess from a storage standpoint is if you do have tungsten filament tubes, is to store them in a vertical position. Don't let those filaments have a chance to zag over time with the work of gravity. So that's my 2 cents. And and that's probably worth about 1 cent. So over to Dennis, W6DQ, W7MS.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much. W7MS and the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable. W6DQ here. Dennis down here in Inyokern. And we're running the AWM 380 along with the Alpha 87 SM 280 microphone. And let's see, well, out to the inverted P. Mike, I answered your question there. It's right above, it's right there. He's just chatting to me on Zoom, and I answered his question, so it's there. You just didn't see it. Oh, well. Anyway, Rocco, interesting question. My favorite, anything with a vacuum. My least favorite, anything without a vacuum. I've got a 3500Z sitting here in front of me that's kind of sad looking because it let the vacuum out. So I don't like stuff like that, but yeah, I agree with Mike on the 811s. 811As, RCA, you know, I mean, nothing better. Got lots and lots of them. That's the one thing. I don't have a shortage of vacuum tubes. Literally thousands to choose from here. So very seldom do I have to actually go out and search for something online. I don't even remember the last time I had to find anything online. So pretty much everything that I've got that uses vacuum tubes, I've got spares for it in droves. So it's a good thing. Now there's wow, my favorites. I love mercury vapor rectifiers. Those are cool. When they're lit up and glowing blue, there's nothing better seeing mercury vapor rectifiers going. And I really love that. The Collins 550A1 transmitter here uses mercury vapors, and when that thing's fired up, they're just so pretty. We love that. I have a few other things that use them, but they're not as visible as they are in the Collins. So anyway, that's it from here. That's my story. I will stick with that. Rocco, thank you for hosting this evening. The hybrid AS line or SA line, whatever you want to call it, sounds good down here. And you're putting in a good potent signal. Everybody else sounds really good as well. So, Mike, thank you for taking the earlies. Appreciate that. And likewise, good signal. So over to Lisa, KF6QNG and the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, W6DQ.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Rocco, for hosting the roundtable this evening, and Mike, as I said earlier, for taking the early. Well, I don't have a favorite tube, so any of them that glow look pretty. Any of them that are inside a working radio, that's my favorite. There you go. So with that, goes back to Rocco. So N6KN from KF6QNG.
Okay. Well, I'm learning a lot of interesting things here, and I didn't know before. So, all right, the next four will be Max, KJ6HN. Max, if you would give it to Matthew, N4DLA. Matthew, give it to Dave, WY6R. And Dave, if you would give it to Mike, K6ZSR. KJ6HN, take it.
Alrighty, KJ6HN here. I think I'm on frequency. Tonight, talking on the usual suspects. The D104 microphone into the Signal 1, and then out from an Alpha 77SX into a handmade dipole. So that's a good question. I don't really remember that one has come up in the recent past, but it's a good question. What is the favorite tube? Well, I've got two answers, and one is based on the notion that real radios, and including amplifiers, glow in the dark. So my favorite glow-in-the-dark tube would be either a 4-400A or a 3-500Z, because they glow. And boy, when you load them up, and you see the plate getting orange hot, that's kind of thrilling, actually, to see that. So that's my favorite for glow-in-the-dark tubes. But my all-around favorite, because I've got 3 amplifiers that run them, is the 8877, also known as a 3CX1500A7 iMac tube. And that one just really delivers. No, it doesn't glow in the dark. You can't see it. You can feel the heat from it, but you can't see the anything glowing. But to me, that's a small sacrifice to pay for having just a really, really reliable and good final output tube for any amplifier. Don't know of any radio that runs it or transmitter that runs it, but as far as amplifiers go, I'd say that's my favorite. I've got 2 spares for the 3 amplifiers that I've got, and I don't know what the cost of them is these days. Like everything else, it's probably going up in price, in cost, in value, but they just last so darn long. My Alpha 77SX runs a pair of 8877s, and so they're reliable there. I've got a homebrew amplifier that runs it, and another boat anchor amplifier that runs an 8877. So with the iMac name on there, they're just fabulous tubes. So that would be my candidate for my favorite tube, with in second place either 3-400 or 4-400 or the 3-500, because they glow. I love the glow. And when they fail, and I have one that failed actually, it broke in moving it around, and I'm thinking of making it into some kind of table lamp running on really low voltage, just for the filaments to run, but they'll probably burn out. It really needs to be a vacuum. Maybe I'll get busy with my oxyacetylene torch and make some kind of a seal on the cathode pin on the top. But then I'd have to figure out some way to suck out the air. Oh well. Future project for a future date. All right, that's what I have to say. And over to November 4 Delta Lima Alpha, Matthew from KJ6HN.
Hey, thanks, Matt. KJ6HN. And the vintage single sideband roundtable from N4DLA, Matthew in Orinda, California, about 15 miles east of San Francisco, using an Atlas 210X transceiver, Shure 444 microphone, 75-meter coaxial dipole up about 60 feet, and favorite tube, probably the 6146 final output tube. It's in my Knight T150A transmitter that I use on AM. As well, it's very popular in the Heathkit tube equipment. I guess there's the 6146A and B, and I think one of the either A or B is very hard to find. We had an amateur radio club auction earlier this year, and nobody wanted an assortment of tubes, so I bought them. It was a big pile of tubes in a box, and I spent many evenings sorting through them to sort them all out, put them in plastic bags. Most of them were for the All-American 5 type radios, I found out later, but I took the ones I needed as spares for the night and donated the rest to the California Historical Radio Society's restoration shop in Alameda at their museum, and they were very happy to get them because, it's, like I said, they said, oh, these are for All-American 5, so I have no idea where the tubes came from. But otherwise, I just try to keep spares. And yes, Venus Transoceanic, I have a set of spares for those, and there's some really tough ones, as already been mentioned. That was my first shortwave receiver. I gave it away when I moved from Maryland to California, but I found another one at the Livermore Swap Fest. So, but that was my first shortwave radio I got when I was 13. Neighbor gave it to me for free. It had belonged to a neighbor of theirs, Eugenie Clark, the National Geographic explorer, who recently passed away in her 90s. But so that radio got some action. It's Transoceanic H500. But after I got the shortwave radio, I pretty much didn't watch TV anymore. It was more interesting. So over to Dave. Congratulations, Dave, getting your antenna up from the QSY to Arizona. Had your new QTH there. Always enjoy seeing your the largest spread of vintage radios on the QRZ.com webpage. So, Dave, WI6R in Kingman, Arizona. Please go ahead. This is N4DLA Orinda.
Hey, real fine. Thanks, Matt. This is WI6R, Dave in Kingman, Arizona, at least 5 miles north. And tonight we're running our S-line. It's been sitting here hooked up, ready and waiting for an antenna since, February. And fortunately, my brother-in-law came over a couple of weekends ago and put the antenna up for me. We had a couple of mistakes for tie downs. We didn't quite get into some serious ones. We had a winter storm that just beat us and flooded and down the antenna came, so we had to put it back up last weekend, and so we're on the air again. Tubes, wow. For most of you guys who know me, know that I had very little to do with tubes until much later in my ham radio career when I got my first amplifier, which was a Clipper Denell with 4 572Bs, and that seemed to be just an indestructible amplifier. It just tugged along for many years with no trouble whatsoever. I have one now, which has been sitting around way too long, and it looks like I need to let the filaments cook for a while and see if it'll come back to life. It's otherwise in pretty good shape, but the tubes don't seem great yet. Other tubes, I've had lots of stuff actually through the years with 4CX250Bs, and they all seem to be also fairly bulletproof. And I have a few of those. I don't have a lot of experience with those glass envelope tubes, but I've got tons of them. The sources for old vacuum tubes, including new in-the-box ones, seems best to be through estates that have way too many tubes, don't know what to do with them, and I acquired one which I swear must have been an IMAC employee, because I have just loads and loads of all sorts of IMAC tubes, so transmitting tubes, and the 4-400s, 3-500Zs, and so on are, of course, pretty popular. One amplifier, the Alpha 87A, I think that's an 8877 single tuber, and that was a healthy amplifier. These days, restoring all this vintage gear, that's where most of my tubes come from, and I guess I only have a discouraging receiving tube, and that typically seems to be a 6U8A, which doesn't seem to be terribly reliable. I've had to replace more than any other tube, maybe. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And I think, let's see, it goes back up to Mike in Santa Barbara. Good to hear you, Mike. T6SR and Rocco, thanks for taking the round table tonight. T6SR from WI6R.
Yeah, okay, Dave. WI6R, K6SR. Good to hear you on the channel again, Dave. I hope everything's going well up there in your QTH. And this is Mike, K6SR up here in Santa Barbara. And tonight running the Cosmic Hole 35. And that's going up to a Mid Vernon B in the palm tree. So there you have it. And running a 0.44 microphone. Okay, so very good. And Rocco, nice question. And I just thought about it tonight that not because anything is there for grandiose or anything, it's quite commonplace, and that's 6146. And the reason why I chose this, Rocco, is because when I was a teenager living up in the La Crescenta area, right next door to Bob, JIB, he lived in La Cañada, and the next town to the anyway, within about a 4-block area, there were 3 hands. They were all teenagers. They all went to the same high school together. So you can imagine our lunches. We were the nerds. Everybody else was, I don't know what the heck they were talking about. Well, we damn sure were talking about radio. And this was every day. I tell you, I just miss those days, to be honest with you. You know, like pioneering or something. I don't know. Well, anyway, so be that. But one of our friends, in the group of the 3 of us, said, "Oh, look at this transmitter on QST. It was a single 6146. And he said, you know what? Why don't we all build it? Let's just build it. Talk to each other on this thing." So we did, you know, with just a 40-meter 6146 oscillator amplifier, all in the same tube, all open board on the chassis. And the other guy knew somebody down in JIB's territory there that had a TV repair shop. Actually, it was his neighbor. And he said he had a whole bunch of parts down there. So on a Saturday, we all went down there, and in the back, all rusted, he just throw these old TV sets, the chassis, in the back. So we took all the transformers off. We took, you know, whatever resistors we needed. And I mean, we spent over 2 hours down there and just having a ball. I mean, no money outlay for this thing. It was just incredible. And then we came home, we built those things. It took us a few days. But the real joy was talking Rocco every night. Just talking, getting on there, CW, blasting out on these, who knows how dirty these things were. They had no filter, you know, they were wide open. And, but anyway, we really enjoyed it. We heard each other's signals. We knew that must be the way we sounded at the other person's house. And great camaraderie and just a great fun. Yep. Anyway, so that's the story. So I'm going to say the 6146 is my favorite, Rocco. So back to you. N6KN, sideband roundtable, K6ZSR.
Speaking of the double, JIB is here.
Okay. I've got WA9GIB. Anybody else trying to get in here at the bottom of the list?
NI6Q. Okay.
I got NI6Q. Hello, Brian. And there was another one.
K6LK.
K6LK. Got you. Any others? Okay. Bill. Have you at the bottom. Okay. So I'll tell you what. We'll split these 3 and 2 just for fun. Skip. K6LGL, would you give it to Ron, K2RP? And Ron, if you would give it to Bob, WA9GIB. Go ahead, Skip.
Okay, thank you, Rocco. Okay, N6KN and the vintage sideband roundtable, and that's K6LGL, Skip in Santa Monica. In terms of favorite tubes, probably the 572 Alpha. And hate to admit it, but the best one made for transmitter use, and I've been running it for about 6-7 years, is the one that was made with the ceramic socket and the ceramic plate ring by the Reflector Factory, as known as Svetlana. Svetlana is now gone, has been sold, and I think, I'm not sure if they're making any tubes at all. Generally around the shack, a 4-400 was my first kilowatt that I built using a pair of them push-pull. They were on 6 meters way back many years ago as a Class C amplifier. And then my favorite trio tube, other triad, is the Trio 4TL as modulator in Class AB1. In the lower power tubes, used for drivers in the 100-watt class, the 6146B, the original RCA GE design, is still a very outstanding tube, and unfortunately nobody makes it anymore. It's only available. Occasionally you can find as new old stock, but usually they're used. But there's not the 6146A, or the original 6146. There's a difference in dissipation, input-output capacitance, all kinds of stuff, so they're not replaceable in many circuits. And then on the receiving tubes, probably some of the mixer tubes. I agree with the 6U8A is another one, and this famous 7360 for use in balance modulators. And they're getting hard to find. You have to reinvent yourself. And there's a number of others, I have some VHF tubes. I like the 5894s to use up to 432. It runs close to 100 watts. And that's a UHF version of the famous 829B. And, I should say another favorite of my tubes for the lower bands is a 4D32. But, so it goes. And then the 6L26s and the sweep tubes. Well, some of those tubes are well made, and it's amazing what they do if you take care of it. And absolutely right from our friend Mike there in Reno. You don't want to take the Toyota tungsten filament tubes and mount them horizontally. They will sag. So it's a vertical mounting only. All right. I guess it goes over to you, Ron, K2RP. Thank you very much for an interesting net. And, hey, on with the comments. K6, little green light.
Okay, thanks. Excuse me. Thanks, Skip. And thanks to Mike for the earlies, Rocco for taking the net tonight, and also Rocco for all those nice contacts in the Classic Exchange. Rocco, I've had a good time the last few days. Favorite tubes? I gotta go with the 811, 811As. I'm not big on amps, but I have 3 amps. So one uses 3-500s, which are expensive. I have a 3001 and a Heathkit Warrior that use 811s. And actually, I don't use the amps very much, so I haven't had much trouble with the tubes. But all these expensive tubes, I don't quite understand. The watts that fall out the end of an amplifier are the same, no matter what's in between, whether it's the most advanced solid state or the more primitive early amps like the Warrior is probably 60 years old.
It's not like transceivers that have modern features.
They do the same job. That's why, even though boat anchors have decreased in value, old amps like the SB200 and 220 still have a good market because people buy them not to collect but to use. You hear people all the time with those video amps. I didn't have one until somebody mentioned it. I seem to have replaced a lot of 6U8 tubes over the years. But I have quite a stock, and our radio club has a tube bank with about 15,000 tubes in it that are available to members at no charge. There's such a small demand for it that you got to wait till somebody's going up to the warehouse or the storage unit or something and pull them out for you. So that's what I got. I'm on the ICO 753, which I got from RLG out there at John's Barbecue. I wasn't working and got it on the air, and it still needs a little tweaking, but it's quite, once you warm it up, it's really much more stable than I would have expected. Okay, let's see. I think it goes over to Bob, W89JIB, K2RP.
Okay,
little bit, or I did. So hopefully I'm on some kind of frequency that you guys can all hear. Anyway, yeah, it's Bob Bravo, Oscar Bravo, location La Cañada. And I am using the Yaesu station tonight, FT101E barefoot, into my, through my tuner into a dipole, which hangs off a 35-foot mast, inverted V, of course. And so that's the toys here tonight. Let's see. As far as my favorite tube, I am also going to go. Oh, thanks, Mike, for conjuring me up. And I'm going to agree with you. My favorite tube is the 6146. I'm just trying to think. My first transmitter was a DX35. I don't know what the final was in that. I'm guessing it was a 6146, but it might have been an 807 or something like that. But I didn't have much luck with it. When I first started really having fun with ham radio was when we got our HT37 as teenagers. And, of course, the finals in that was the 6146. And that made all the difference in the world. And it's just a great tube. And it was back then, and it still is. And I was giving a talk at JPL once. Vaughn was there for supporting, for moral support. And it was on Mars telecommunication. And I was going through some radio theory, and I passed around a 6146 to the crowd, the audience, and I said, with two of these, I can talk all over this planet. And then I passed around a deep space network Klystron, a small one. And I said, but if we're going to talk to Mars, the 6146 is not going to cut it. So then that's when I passed around the Klystron to show what was needed to get Tom to the 50 million mile point, so to speak. So, and that was pretty nice. But, you know, it's still impressive with the power of a light bulb or two, i.e. a couple of 6146s, we can communicate all over this planet. That makes it my favorite. I'll also toss in the receive tube, the 12AX7. It is just so used in everything for decades now. I think they're still being made. I've had them in transmitters. I've had them in receivers. I've had them in stereo amps. I've had them in guitar amps. 12AX7 is my choice for receive tube, and 6146 for a transmit tube. Okay, one news alert. NASA's going to launch its moon rocket, if all goes well, tonight, 1:04 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 10:04 p.m. our time. Not too late. So assuming it goes well, and that's the beginning of the launch window, it might be a fun thing to stay up for and watch. Back to you, Rocco, N6KN, WA9JIB.
Okay. Fantastic answers. Boy, we're getting all kinds of interesting stuff here. Okay. Anybody else trying to get into the list? Go now. All right. Brian, NI6Q, good evening. You take it, and please give it to Bill, K6LK. Go ahead, Brian.
That's okay, Rocco. This is NI6Q here, and good to be here. Let me see, I don't seem to have a lot of output from this thing here. Well, sorry enough. Anyway, and thanks for hosting, Rocco, and everybody is coming in very nicely tonight. So, my name is Brian here, and tonight I'm on the Eldico 100 mil. And SSB 100 mil, and the receiver is a CL91. So there you go. When it comes to tubes, I actually like the 813 as a transmitting tube. I think it's a very elegant tube. Without power, of course, you know, it's a matter of the filament and things like that, but you find them in a lot of transmitters of the early times. And I kind of like the 813 design. Not really usable for AS. It's only, you know, really good for RF communication. But It's a beautiful tube. Puts out medium power, and I have them in a lot of my transmitters here. Receive tubes, well, of course, the 12AT, 12AX, 12AU tubes are the usual suspects, even though they tend to go bad fairly rapidly, and the replacements we find nowadays are not as sturdy as were, the RCAs and GEs of the time. But what are we going to do? So anyway, I'll pass it over to Bill. I didn't get his call sign there. But Bill, you know who you are. So over to you, and this is NI6Q here, Flagstaff, Arizona.
Okay, Brian. Okay. And I wanted to, also known as the Swan Junkie, I wanted to, first of all, announce that Skip, K6LGL, runs the SwanNet on Saturday night. You might want to check that at 3894. Regarding the tube question of the evening, my favorite tube is the 12AX7, and I'm especially fond of the Bugle Boy 12AX7, which was a very early 12AX7. It's a very nice tube in the audio world, and that's probably why I still like it. And now, with regard to transmit tubes, my favorite tube is the 6550 used in the Central Electronics 100V and 200V. And the reason why I like that tube is it has very, very low distortion. I'm kind of partial to that. And anyway, Max, I'll keep it short. I know I'm at the end of the list because, well, I'm at a European dinner tonight, so I didn't check in early. Anyway, back there to you, K6HN, K6LK.
Well, I think you meant to send it to N6KN, but that's fine there, Bill. Okay, well, we had some really interesting answers to that question tonight. Some tubes that everybody seems to like, and some tubes that everybody doesn't think very much of at all. So I think, I'm counting here, the favorite tube tonight is the 6146 with honorable mention to the 811As. And on the bad boy list, 6U8As, I certainly agree with that. I have replaced many of those. And, yeah, Chinese 811s, yeah, they're bad news too. Okay, so I'm going to award the, hold on here. My wife is trying to get my attention. Let me see if I can dodge her. Okay. Well, I'm going to give a Golden Cup Award. Hey, Mike, W7FS, I hope you're still here because you certainly deserve it. You knew some stuff that I didn't know about tubes. I did not know about the bad batch of IMAX 3500s. That's really interesting. And I did not really understand about vertical storage of the tungsten filament tubes, although it makes perfect sense. So thank you. All right, Mike, you got any words if you're still here? W7MS from N6KN.
Well, thank you, Rocco. I think I let you down last time when I had an award coming and I had shut down. So here I am. And I am humbly receiving the accolades from your station. It was a great night. And, yeah, the vertical storage has to do with filament zag, especially if they're hung filaments because of the dimensional qualities. But it's, everybody's free to do as they wish. And I'm very reluctant to offer advice, but you asked the question, W7MS.
Okay, Mike. Thank you for that. All right. Really nice evening, and this has been a terrific frequency tonight. And yeah, we did have to move 95 now that we've changed to standard time. Just doesn't work very well. Okay, thank you all very much. And Ron, K2RP, if you want to, do you have anything else you want to qualify for the Classic Exchange? Hang around. N6K, and over to you, Ron.